What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. So, today we're going over the Miter Incarnon Genesis Unlocker. Basically, one of the craziest things I've ever used in WARFRAME. We get a saw blade launcher that, okay, bear with me, it's got homing, it's got AoE chaining, it's got crazy scaling damage-wise, it's got base heat, it's got it can go around corners, it can go through walls, it can one-shot acolytes, it can one-shot Demolyst on the steel path. And when I say one-shot, I mean it. So this is, you're looking at one of the best weapons in the game right here. And you could definitely be certain that if you pick this as your Incarnon Unlocker for the week, you will be getting some ridiculous damage to go alongside it. So we'll be going over that today. I want to show you all the Incarnon upgrades that are possible and things you could potentially go for if you're looking to try out this ridiculous weapon. Alright, so the Incarnon Miter is going to be a saw blade launcher, and it's also got a special augment mod for the normal Miter called Neutralizing Justice. And that's actually going to be one of the builds today as well. There's the Steel Path Stalker dying in 2 bullets, okay? So that's what you can expect with this thing. Now, let's show what you can get here as far as upgrades and how this thing works. So let's summon in some Exo Goxtins. I'll show you the anti-Corpus Nullifier build in a little bit, but the same way that any Incarnon weapon works besides a few of them, get a headshot, and you can build up your Incarnon meter. After about like 4 projectiles hitting into the head, you have your entire Incarnon meter. By the way, there is no such thing as a Kuva Miter. I just renamed it. You can rename weapons at Rude Zood. Now that our meter is charged up, just want to show that. That's the non-Incarnon shot right there doing big damage. But once it's charged up, we can release the Incarnon mode, and now it will release saw blades that bounce between enemies and have a mind of their own, actually. Not to mention, this special fire mode is full auto. So you could just basically spam it. It does not require that many bullets to kill enemies at high levels, though. And this is with no Riven currently, and no Hunter munitions either. So the way the homing works is you can just aim relatively near them, and it will home in on enemies. And this will go around corners and walls, as I said. So the way this works, just spam out shots, kill everything in the area. You can actually see some of these saw blades going between enemies back and forth, too. So get a bunch of kills, not bad for no Riven, and then easily charge it back up in one shot to get full Incarnon ammo. This thing does so much damage and has such high base stats that it's actually kind of hilarious just to use it sometimes. Alright, let's go over all the Incarnon upgrades you can choose here, and we'll also, I'll show you a no Riven build and all that. But here's the thing, on this weapon, if you have a Riven, guys, or if you don't have a Riven, go get a Riven right now because this has some of the highest Riven stats in the entire game as of May 15th, 2023. Alright, going over these Incarnon choices right here, let's see what we got to deal with. So we have the first tree, we've got 2 options. One of them being increased damage while you have a channeled ability active. The other one is increased damage by 57, and multi-shot will consume ammo from your magazine. I would not recommend the multi-shot one, as the multi-shot consumption does work on the Incarnon mode, and you'll lose all your Incarnon near instantly. For tier 2, we've got projectile speed, increased reload speed and reloading from empty, or increased maximum ammo pool. I'd say go with the projectile speed to the ammo pool, but the reload one also potentially could be okay as well. The weird thing about tier 1 is that those choices are not the best, but we'll talk about that a little bit more with the channeled abilities. For tier 3, you've got 3 options. One of them is going to be great for utility. Tier 1, or rather for these options, you have increased crit chance massively. That's the one we're showing in the video today. Good for one-shotting lots of stuff. Critical parallel gives increased status chance and crit chance, and this has very high status chance, so that'll help a lot. And the third option is going to be for a utility Miter build. It's going to be when you charge the shot, it will increase the AoE of basically the Miter explosion. And this is not about the Incarnon mode, so if you think it's going to be more AoE in the Incarnon mode, sorry, that's not the case. But if you do want more AoE in the Incarnon mode, Prime Firestorm does work. So here is the no Riven build. Like I said, you could throw Hunter munitions on here, but as you can see right here, 4.32 explosion range. It's going to be a 3 explosion range without Prime Firestorm, and this build can slay Steel Path very quickly. So with the crit chance Incarnon, we've got 126% crit chance with no crit chance Riven. We've got a 7.3 multiplier, and with 1 dual stat and galvanized aptitude, we're 134% status chance. With mostly viral, and there's a good amount of slash on the direct hit, and it has impact. It has viral and heat on the explosion. Now you could put on the 60-60 cold bond for more status chance, but I decided to go with this just for more upfront damage. Now, as far as what we have here, it's just a viral a viral build that has, and the explosion has heat on it, so it's viral heat. You could throw on Hunter Munitions for more damage, but I just didn't feel the need to. It procs enough slash for the direct hits. We can show it with Hunter Munitions though. But yeah, so as far as what you can do, actually, no, before we do that, before we show another build on those Grenier, let's show the anti-nullifier setup. Now, I said earlier, this is very, very good for nullifiers, and yes, this augment neutralizing justice, each miter blade has a 90% chance to destroy a nullifier field. This works on the Incarnon, and you can kill like 10 nullifier bubbles at once. Let's see how my RNG is here, but let's summon in some nullifiers. Alright, let's get 20 nullifiers. This situation does not usually happen. But yes, the Neutralizing Justice does work in the Incarnon mode. I'm not going to charge up here. I'm going to have to technically headshot one of these guys. Alright, so let's take a peek up here. This is what you can expect from this thing. So, non-Incarnon, going to pop a bubble, no problem. Incarnon mode, it's a bubble hunting machine. And as you see, I think all those bubbles are gone. 20 nullifiers, one bubble, or one shot. So, yeah. And of course, you could mod this for Toxin, too. You can make like a rad Toxin build, and the Toxin should one-shot the Nullifier, and then the Neutralizing Justice mod will one-shot the bubbles. So, very good when if you're doing an Endurance run against the Corpus or the Corrupted, and there are situations where multiple Nullifiers are stacked on top of each other. What you can do is use this as a utility weapon. Just have your Incarnon charge stacked up, activate the Incarnon, and just run around with another melee. Whenever you see a Nullifier, swap to your Incarnon, pop the Nullifier bubble, all Nullifiers should be dead after that, and just rinse and repeat. A very, very good anti-Corpus loadout is going to be the Incarnon Miter and the Serrata. The Serrata is basically the Glaive Prime, but what the Glaive Prime did, toxin damage instead of slash damage. So it one-shots Corpus. This can one-shot Corpus too, so don't get too worried about it. But yeah, if you were to use a utility miter, I'd say maybe go for either increased status chance or the AoE increase on the Commodores, or on the Tier 4. That's going to be very nice for covering more area with the non-Incarnon shot, as you don't really need to build the Incarnon charge if you're trying to do an anti-nullifier setup. Let's get some gameplay on the screen of just annihilating the steel path of this thing. Now, this is with the Riven. This is with a multi-shot crit damage Riven with minus ammo, which, like I said, you should get a Riven for this thing. It has 1.3 dispo, some of the highest stat Rivens in the whole game, and you're looking at one of the highest stat Incarnons in the whole game, so this is definitely nasty. Now, as you can see, it's going around the corner. With Zephyr's passive, we're getting a little bit more crit chance too, so here's the thing. This does so much damage that it doesn't even need to be full auto. I actually don't understand why they made it full auto, because one shot kills like 20 enemies at the same time anyway. So the fact it's full auto just feels unnecessary. I'll just put it like that. Unnecessary. This is, again, with no Hunter Munitions on the steel path right here. Same build I showed you, but instead of a Firestorm, we got the Riven instead, just for more and more damage. So, Acolyte, no problem. Demolyst, no problem. Thrax, they're definitely not going to be any problem with this thing. So, you are looking at one of the strongest weapons in the game right now. If the Rivens get nerfed, I actually don't think it's going to even matter that much on this thing, because, it has such obscene Rivens right now. Like I said, with my Riven, let's see what the exact numbers are. I've got like 177% extra multi-shot. Yeah, I've got 177 extra multi-shot if I was to run my Riven, and 222% increased crit damage. You're looking at like about a 14.6 multiplier on this miter with a crit damage Riven. And yes, it has over 100% crit chance with the Incarnon for crit chance. So, guaranteed crits, guaranteed over 10 multiplier with the Riven, about an 8.6 without a Riven. And you can even throw on Hammer Shot for more status chance. This thing is just nasty, guys. I'd highly recommend you go get it. I've heard a lot of good things about the Torrid and also the dual Toxins this week, too. So lots and lots of very powerful options this week. You will not go wrong with most of them. Of course, the dual Ichor is a melee, so is it going to really be as good as we're hoping? We'll see. It sounds like one of the better Incarnon melees at this point. So highly recommend this thing. Make sure you go get it. Now, I want your opinions, guys. Do you think this is better than the Latron Incarnon? It's been viewed that the Latron Incarnon has been the best one up until maybe now. Is this better than the Latron Incarnon? Is the Torrid Incarnon better than this? Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments. I think from what I've seen, this is going to be the best Incarnon. Not only is it the best anti-nullifier weapon in the game, it is so good for Acolytes and so good for Demolysts that the Steel Path, like this feels like a Steel Path weapon. And we don't even have a variant on this. Not to mention, the Panthera Prime is crying. The Panthera Prime does not do this at all. The Panthera Prime technically has exploding saw blades. They have nothing. Nothing at all on the Incarnon Miter. So, really nice. It makes a lot of other weapons look bad. I'm just wondering if this is better than the Latron, because it's definitely better than the Strun. The Strun can pump out some damage and pump out some AoE, but the AoE does not have a mind of its own on the Strun like this one. And before I call it, I'm going to show you one more DPS test in the Simulacrum with my Riven and all that. So we'll call it after that one. Now, as far as Galvanized Aptitude on this thing, the Condition Overload for guns, I'd say still go for it. I was noticing a lot more damage when I ran Galvanized Aptitude versus when I did not run Galvanized Aptitude, so... But that one's not been thoroughly tested. This is like more of a day one first impressions thing. I will definitely have a more utility-focused build out in the future, going over that Incarnon that makes the explosion range bigger. But for right now, you can just use it as a DPS weapon, and you can just use the same build with Neutralizing Justice that comes from what Syndicate is that? I believe it's Arbiters of Hexus. Oh, by the way, that Acolyte's gone. I believe it's Arbiters of Hexus that have the Saw Blade Launcher Neutralizing Justice mod. All right, so same build. Actually, we don't even need Hunter Munitions. Let's just take 100 Munitions, put on the Riven, and let's see how this goes. Like I said, you could change this to a 60-60 now if you wanted to. And we have no real buffs. I mean, do I have any buffs, actually? We got Arcane Aegis. That's not really a buff. I'll debuff on the Sevagoth. How about that? And yeah, we're not really doing any Viro procs into the Condition Overload stuff or anything like that. No more nullies. Let's get some Exo Gok stats. So yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. This is my current new favorite Incarnon. I think I'm going to be using this thing a lot going forward. Every Corpus mission ever, you will see me with this thing equipped. It makes nullies a joke. It makes Corpus Demolyst a joke. It makes normal Grenier Demolyst a joke. It just makes everything a joke. It also makes the Stalker and the Acolyte a really big joke. So there we go. That's with the Riven. So as you see, one shot, not really any stacks. This is what I'm saying. Why is this thing full auto? It does so much damage. It doesn't need to be full auto. Let's debuff them, and we'll fire it full auto for a second here. So the fact that it does so much damage and it hits so many enemies per shot makes me think you don't really need the mod for fire rate. Oh my gosh, it's so filthy with the Riven. It really is filthy with the Riven. And of course, there will be other builds possible here. People in chat were telling me to try a gas build since it has base heat. Maybe in the future. It can kill Acolytes with the wrong build in a Bane mod, so maybe try an anti-Acolyte build in the future too. Lots of potential here, guys, and lots of fun to be had. So enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next video, and appreciate all the support. Take it easy. Peace.